Hey everybody, what's crack-a-lackin'? Somebody give me a 5 for 5 and I'll get started here. Guys, we've had some like 3 or 4 decent sized flares that's happened. I'll show you this real quick. This is the D region. That's probably the most powerful one right there. But we'll get into that a little bit. Here is SDO, and they're coming from that sunspot I talked about yesterday, guys. Over here, did you see that? I can actually pause that and drag that back. Right there. You see how active that is? This is not going to stop, okay? We had one over here today also. So, yeah, take that for what it's worth. We'll go over that a little bit more in depth. This is our current magnetopause. Sun's to the left, all the energy moving left to right, the solar wind hitting our magnetic field. We'll go a little bit more into that. Here is NASA's CME tracker from those flares, okay? These things actually do have a small chance of hitting Earth, even though they're on the side like that. Sometimes the spiral will actually show that, and we will definitely get more into that too. But here's the magnetic polarity of that sunspot grouping. That's a big sunspot grouping, and we'll get more into that as we go on through the show here. But I'll also show you this ionized helium. When this one erupts, it releases a massive amount of plasma right there. Did you see that? It is, yeah, that's a big one. We're lucky that thing wasn't right in front of us, because that definitely would have been putting us into some pretty good, yeah, geomagnetic storming, which is good for aurora, but we don't like it for the things that the bad stuff that possibly could happen. Anyway, we got the helio viewer here, same imaging I just showed you, but this coronal hole in this one, I still like to show you Earth scale there. Check that out. Actually, I can zoom in just a little, I think. Yeah, there we go. But you can see how big these holes are compared to Earth. And, you know, they're just huge. But we'll go over that a little bit more. Here's our current HP. Notice how we almost got into storm level again just a few hours ago. We actually did. That's storm level for about, 30 minutes or so. So that won't technically be counted as a geomagnetic storm, but, you know, is what it is. Now, we've had some decent-sized earthquakes today, too, guys. Again, guys, I am not the earthquake guy, but we've had some, like, 6-pointers down here. You know, it's just, yeah, we're going to see these, and it's interesting, you know, the timing of them. Okay, I'm just going to point it out. Check it out, 1400. We started having those flares right around that time. But, you know, I'm not saying that's the only thing that causes earthquakes. All I'm saying is it's part of the equation. It takes a lot of things to cause an earthquake. So, just so you know. Also, I got a comment asking, you know, we never get radio blackouts in my area when we have these flares. Well, you got to live in the right areas, number one. Number two, you also have to look at this radio propagation map. These are basically communications between one radio or another, right? Ham radio operations and things like that. This is a tool here. You could come over here and look, and you can see what's actually going on, which ones are being disrupted. So I'll just say that. I'm not going to get too much into that tonight, but we'll address it a little bit. But anyway, guys, let me go ahead and run my intro, and we will get to it, okay? See you in about 10 seconds. Okay, guys. Yeah, so this is going to be a fairly quick one. I'm going to stick straight to the flares and the CMEs from them, okay? But this is the 131 angstrom, and this is on SDO. Actually, I think I'm going to do this real quick, too. Maybe. No. Oops. Sorry about that. That might have went black on you for a minute. Sorry. Sorry about that, guys. If it did, I apologize. Anyway, you can see the flaring over here and over here. This one here released a good amount of energy. They both did. It's not strange to see an eruption and then 180 degrees on the other side of the sun to see another one. We see that quite often. I'm not sure if there's any science behind that, but it's simply an observation that I've made. Okay. So if I just hit play here, you're going to see these flares. 1, 2, that was the biggest one right there. Notice that that big one, it was still partially being occulted by the sun itself. So if I take you guys here and get this off, this is NOAA. And if you look at the size of the flares, this thing was just a smidge under an X flare. Okay? If that thing was fully visible to Earth, that would have been an X flare. So this thing is popping off good size M flares and X flares. That's what it's doing. Okay? We're not going to count this one as an X flare because we didn't get the X-ray where we're at. But that if you were on that side of the sun, like say you were, I think Mars is over there right now. I can't remember which planet it is, but if you were over there, you definitely would have had an X flare. Now they're forecasting, they've got us at a 5% chance of X flares. I think that's going to go up. Okay, I do think that they'll probably change that. So I just wanted to make sure you guys understood that. Now, we gauge our flares by X-ray, right? That's how big they are, right? But what do X-rays do? They cause radio blackouts. Okay, and they can do a host of other things too. But we concentrate on this because it gives us a better idea. We had an R2 radio blackout. X-flare, the bottom layer of X-flare, is R3. So, you know, and most people that are affected by this are like shipping lanes out in the ocean because the planet's 70% water, okay? So you got to understand that when a flare hits, it's only affecting immediately the sun side of the Earth, okay? Whoever's facing the sun at that time, that's what's happening, all right? Now, let me go ahead and take you to SDO again. Okay, so when it pops off here and pops off there, okay, yeah, that's what it did, right? So let's go see what these CMEs look like according to the NOAA model. It's pretty interesting, actually. So I can pop through these now pretty easily. Let me just kind of zoom out just a touch on this one because I don't think we need to be zoomed in as much on this one. I can control it better. But as you can see, I'm going to actually pull that over there too. Okay, so if I take you back to the first CME, and I think this was it right here. Let's go back one more just to check. There was a small one that was at noon. Let's take it back another one. I don't think there is one there. Okay, there was a small one there, but it wasn't big. That was on the 19th actually. So this was here, and this was kind of a small one over here, right? That's that departing sunspot that I showed you guys. This is the new one that's coming in. That was the first one that popped off. That was not the strongest one. Okay, so that's one. And then that was number 2. And that's number 3. That's the big one on the other side. Notice how that was bigger than anything over here as of yet. So, yeah, that rotated off just in time. Now, I also want you guys to pay attention to our interplanetary magnetic field line. This dashed line that we're connected to the sun on. Here's Earth. Okay? This is the magnetic line that we're connected to. Notice how this CME barely misses that. If this CME goes over top, even though it's on the side of our connection to the sun, we're sitting in a radiation storm right now. That's what would have happened. That is a big CME. If it crosses over, it's going to grab every proton it can out of that CME, and it's going to magnetically funnel it back to the Earth. We've had big ones on the back go off completely 180 degrees from us, but it was so powerful it put enough protons out into our solar system that our magnetic field line grabbed some of them and put us in a radiation storm from a CME that went the opposite direction. So that's what I'll say. You know, it's just crazy. Those kinds of things blow my mind. It's how powerful some of the stuff that we talk about here actually is. Now, the helio viewer, again, this is the sunspot, not sunspot, but the coronal hole. It's a hole in the corona, not a hole in the sun. The black part's actually the surface. So it's the atmosphere that opens up. and it lets everything out. And we are seeing, and that's what I think what we're seeing now in the uptick in geomagnetic activity, the HP and the KP. Okay, I think this is the beginning of the solar wind from that coronal hole when it was over here. Okay, it's about the right time for it to be impacting us. So I think that's what it is. It's nothing to be concerned about or anything like that, but you can see how we're getting hit. This is density, sun off to the left. You know, it's our magnetopause. I explained that yesterday. If you want a further explanation on that, I would encourage you to go back and watch my stream yesterday. It should be, it should have chapter breaks, so you should be able to navigate it pretty easy on my stream. So anyway, you've got, this is speed, and again, you're going to see it like that. So here is magnetic pressure. So yeah, I just wanted to briefly touch on that. But the big story, guys, are these flares. Okay? This is going to continue to rotate in. So let's take a look at the ionized helium. That's the same imaging. This is SDO. Okay? And what you're going to see is you're going to see a large eruption right here. Okay? If you keep watching, it'll happen, I promise. Matter of fact, I'll just zoom in pretty far on this one. See that? That's a lot of plasma. Notice how much plasma is hanging around this sunspot. Okay? Those are all magnetic field lines, magnetic lines on the sun, and you're seeing that highly charged particles or plasma travel on those lines. That's what you're seeing there. Okay? I also want to point out something that I've not heard many people talk about during this whole thing. Just like last week, guys, this is a huge magnetic filament laying in the corona of the sun. If this thing is close enough, it could destabilize and this whole filament could rip off. If that happens and it's here when it does, we're talking some decent sized storming. Okay? That in itself, that right there is what we call just a typical CME explosion. Boom, it shot plasma straight from where it happened, right? But sometimes it'll disrupt these filaments. So we got to keep an eye on that, guys. Okay? So that's just what I'll say there. But yeah, we had a 7.2 in Peru today. Yeah, you're exactly correct. Somebody give me a roll call in there if you could. But yeah, so this CME here, we got this rotated off, thank God. Because I do think that would have given us some issues. That's a big CME. Notice how when it exits off this model, how it's almost about 160 degrees wide. Look at that. Maybe 150. Maybe 160 is too much there. Probably 150. So yeah, I mean, that's pretty crazy. It's just big. It doesn't mean it would have been like grid down or nothing like that. I'm not saying that. I don't want anybody to think that. We don't have fear here either. We're aware. We're not afraid of anything. So I try to spread awareness so we're not, caught off guard when something bad does happen. And we react better. We don't get that knee jerk from like a jump scare reaction, fight or flight. That ain't what's going to happen to us. It's what's going to happen to people that don't know what's actually happening here. That this is actually possible. Some of the stuff that, some of the bad stuff that could happen. If some of that stuff was to actually happen, and again, I'm not saying that it is. I mean, mathematics will tell you eventually it has to. Hopefully none of us are here to see it, but, anyway, rant over. Now, again, I wanted to make sure that you guys were able to see these eruptions and understand what we got coming. Okay? And also understand that, yes, we do have earthquakes. They're happening all over the place. So get over and check out Ron's channel, Emergency Management Associates, and anybody else that does earthquake stuff. Go check out the Carrington 2024 app on the Play Store. I got some exciting stuff with that coming. But yeah, it'll help you. It really will. Now, this is GOES. This is the same imaging, but it's on a different satellite. Okay, so Dr. Tony Phillips has a still shot here. Look at that. That's crazy. That's a lot of plasma reaching out very, very far. So the sun did not recapture the majority of this. That happens sometimes. You know, they'll shoot something out and the sun will grab it back magnetically or with gravitation. Both apply, okay? But a CME will overcome that, the blast itself. That's exactly what happened here. And I haven't even read his article here, but I would say go over here and check him out at spaceweather.com. He definitely knows what he's talking about, knows what he's doing. Okay, I trust him, and I've never even talked to him, but I trust everything he's doing here. Now he's got this near-Earth object map too. You guys could come down here and check it out. I'm not going to get into detail about that tonight, but you guys could come check this out. He's got a lot of good stuff over here. Fireball reports. When we get into meteor showers, these always increase. So yeah, he reports on all that. He sends these necklaces up. He makes these necklaces. I'm not sure if he does it or somebody that works with him does. But he sends whatever this is. This one here is a meteorite. He sends it up in a weather balloon that gets to the bottom edge of space, brings it back down and makes a necklace out of it. He's had all kinds of crazy stuff in there, toys and all other kind of jewels and stuff. It's pretty cool. So I would come back and check that out if you guys are interested in stuff like that. I think it's pretty cool. Anyway, so yeah. So what's that mean for us this week? Well, we got to keep an eye on all this. Okay? When you get these many flares in that short of length of time, and they're close to X flare, I'm calling this one an X flare because it, for all intents and purposes, it is. If it was facing us, it would have been an X flare. So again, that's just X-ray production. So yeah, guys, we'll be doing a. If you guys want to become a member, please consider to do so. It's a great way to support the channel. I can't remember. It's $3.99, I think. We have a lot of fun over there. We're going to be reacting to the new Star Wars fan film this weekend. It's awesome. Just so you know, the guy spent $2 million of his own money making it, and he's letting everybody use it. So, I also want to show you this Lasco C3. This is on Soho. It's from our point of view, but a million miles closer. There's that one, and then you're going to see this other one on the end. See how these are erupting? So we're going to be talking about this for a while. This week is going to be interesting, I think, going into the weekend. But yeah, so I really don't have a whole lot more here, guys. But if you want to, please consider to be a member. You know, I think what I'm going to do, and we'll talk about this later, but I'm going to set like a level of like if you become a member or every 5 memberships that you gift out or whatever, I'll be able to send you guys some cards and stuff that I want to share with you. They're space weather cards, super chats. I'm working on something like that too. Maybe like a $5 super chat or something like that. I'll send you a deck of cards, those kinds of things. But we'll talk about that more later. I just want to give you guys some more perks, and I'm trying to build the channel and build the memberships back up to where they were before I jacked it up and went, yeah, took my hiatus for a month or so, 2 months. So that's all my fault. That's why I don't talk about it a whole lot anymore, because I'm not gonna. It's on me. But I do want to make sure that you guys understand that we do have a membership, and it does help. So anyway, that's at the end of my stream. I'm not going to talk about it throughout my streams anymore. I caught myself doing that, and I apologize for that. I don't want to be that person that does that. This channel is not about that, okay? Just so you guys know. I will never put nothing behind a paywall, okay? I just want you guys to understand that. And, you know, I'm going to mention it once at the end of the streams, and yeah. Anyway, we'll go more into that, all that kind of stuff as far as the flares and stuff. We'll see what happens tonight. But I wanted to get this one out to you pretty quick. Like, I got some dinner plans with the family tonight, so I want to take care of that, guys. Hey, Deepquake, thanks, brother. You know you're gonna get some cards. I know you denied me last time. You didn't want it. You didn't want them cards last time, man. I'm gonna send you some. Email me, please. please email me. I want to bless you with some cards. I really do. I might even have something a little extra special for you because you've helped me out so much with the memberships and stuff. I can't tell you. My wife is very appreciative. I am too. It makes a huge difference in my family. It really does. And I know everybody has the same issues as I do. So I don't want to belittle that either. That's why I don't like to talk about it a whole lot. Frankly, it's embarrassing for me to say stuff like that, like even mentioning it. I get embarrassed. I'm just so humbled by anybody who wants to support me or me and what I'm doing here and my wife. You know, it just is. You're just an awesome person, man. You really are, EBecome. Anybody that's here, just you know, sharing and liking. Guys, there's a hype function. Come back to the video, please, and look for that hype function. I think it's next to the share button. Try that a couple times. It pushes my video out. Leave me a comment. Leaving a comment is huge. It pushes the video out more than what people could ever imagine. So I just want to say that. Well, back to you, Hope. You're awesome. Whoever got those memberships, please tell EBecome thanks. He's such an awesome dude. He really is. Well, I won't say dude. He's an awesome man. Holy crap, buddy. Wow. Thank you. There's 10 more of them, guys. You better email me now. I got something real special for you. All right? Please. Show some love to the mods. I want to say hi to Bill, too. Guys, Bill needs, it's Draconis. He needs prayers, guys, okay? He's got some medical stuff going on and some other stuff in his family. So please send him some prayers. I just want to make sure we all, take care of each other. That was awesome, EBecome. Thank you, man. Wow. So humbled. So humbled. Guys, I'm trying my best to follow through and be there, be here, be present with you guys like I was before. And I am really trying. And I think I'm succeeding this time. And I just want you guys all to know that you guys are very important to me. And not because of memberships or anything like that. Just because you come here and listen to my hillbilly explanations of space weather. I'm pretty passionate about the space weather on its own. So thank you guys so much for that. EBecome, you're awesome. And anybody else who got those, please tell him thanks. And email me, please, or I think I might have an old email from you, and I might be able to find you that way. But email me because I got something for you. Okay. Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and pop off. We're going to end it on this imaging right here. I just think this is cool. So anyway, God bless. Yahusha saves. And as always, you can drink this Kool-Aid.